Alright, all set. And 3, 2, 1, action! This is Cinematic Motif. Hello, you're listening to Cinematic Motif. I'm Wanson. This is a show where we introduce you films in Taiwan and around the world. So the last time that we have the Movies Made Me segment was like so long ago. So Movies Made Me is our little feature for us to talk about, discuss with a guest and talk about their lives and the movies that changed them and make them who they are. So today on the show, we have Alan.
Hi, it's me again.
It's actually Alan's
last time here.
Yes, last time here. He's going to
The
Netherlands for an exchange.
Yeah.
Like 6 months, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna hear my voice anymore.
Yeah, so I've decided to ask Alan to do this Movies Made Me and talk about the films that he likes and change them and make him Alan with us. So let's get started. So what is the first film that you're going to share with us? Actually, I think this is also the film that you liked the most when you were a child, right?
It's called Boat 雷霆战狗.
Okay, I think I've never watched this movie.
Really?
But I know this is I checked the poster when you told me about Boat.
I watched this movie for tons of times when I was a child, you know. I love it so much.
Okay, now I know why you're so Americanized. Because you watched this movie when you were a child. When I was a child, I've always been watching Studio Ghibli's movie.
I don't care.
Right.
I am Americanized. I'm happy, alright?
Okay, so tell us a little about the film. Why do you like this so much?
Okay, so let me introduce the film.
Okay.
It's a 2008 Disney animated film, and it's about a dog named Boat who has spent his entire life on the set of a television series. So it's a TV star.
Okay.
Yeah. And he believes that he has superpowers because the TV set used sort of acting method to teach this dog to believe he actually has the superpowers even though he doesn't in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a super dog in the television series.
Sounds like the Truman Show.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And Bo leaves the TV set one day and accidentally makes it to New York, which is far away from the Hollywood. And then he just meets a cat and a hamster, and then they just embark on a cross-country journey back home together.
Were you traumatized when you watched this movie as a child? Like,
why would I be traumatized?
Like, would you think that maybe this whole world for you is also another TV show?
You know, when I was 5 years old, I don't have that kind of complicated thought.
Okay.
I was like, oh, a dog is so cute. A hamster, why is it in the bubble?
Okay. Then, I think when we were a child, it's always these movies about superpowers that really attract us, right?
Yeah.
Did you think that you are going to have lots of superpower and maybe the power to change the world?
I wouldn't say I wanted to have superpower on my own, but since the dog has superpower on the TV set in the movie, and I used to have a dog, so I always feel like maybe the dog in my house is also like Boat, who can secretly do some magic tricks.
Okay, so you like this movie so much because the leading character is a dog.
And I also have a dog in my real life, so I can, you can
relate to that and think that, oh, maybe my dog is going to have superpowers someday in the future. Okay, how did this movie make you?
It makes me a dog-loving person.
Okay, but I think you were already a dog lover even before watching the movie. But you like dog even more.
No. I was actually afraid of the dog in my house when I was a super kid.
Okay.
Yeah, because the dog is, furry and something like that. And I just think, okay. But after watching this movie, I believe my dog maybe has some magic powers, and I start to bond with him,
Okay. That's definitely a movie that changed you so much. I didn't realize that you were afraid of dogs when you were a child. That's
because back at that time, the dog is bigger than me.
I know.
Yeah.
You're definitely talking about when you were a baby, right? Like when you were 3 years old or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so let's take a short break, and I'll ask Alan to share other movies with us later on the show after this little break.
This is Victoria.
From the London Underground to the Taipei Metro,
Jingmei Station.
the people of our world are going places. Are you listening?
Turn clear for the Central and District line.
Tune in to the sounds of your world on Radio Taiwan International.
Alright, so welcome back to Cinematic Motif. Today we're doing Movies Made Me with Alan.
Hi.
So, now let's move on to the child movies into something more serious.
Yeah.
Yes, what is the next serious movie that you have watched?
It's called The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, in Chinese it's 刺激1995.
Yeah, which means the exciting 1995, which is when it was released in Taiwan. I don't know why the translation is like this. I hate the translation.
Because it's exciting. And
But it doesn't contain the meaning of the original name of the movie.
yeah, my question is, the movie was released in 1995, and you
In
were
Taiwan.
born in Taiwan, and you
Yeah.
were born after the 2000. You were born after the millennial. So, how did you get into contact with this movie?
Yeah, I actually cannot remember why. I think it's someone that suggests me to watch this movie. Maybe a friend of mine or teacher of mine.
When you were in
High
junior
school.
High school. Okay,
yeah.
so not long ago. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what the story of the movie is?
Okay, so while it is released in 1995 in Taiwan, it's actually a 1994 film written and directed by Frank Darabont. I don't know how to pronounce the name. And starring
Anyway.
Tom Robbins and the famous Morgan Freeman. Yeah,
Mhm.
and interestingly, it earns the highest IMDb ratings
yeah,
with a 9.3 out of 10.
okay.
Yeah, so I think it's a legend movie. You have to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's a must-watch for a lot of people. But, how is the story of this movie important for your life?
Because the story is about a banker, Andy, who is sentenced to life for murdering
Mhm.
his wife, even though he is actually innocent. And then Andy just spent his life in the prison, in the Shawshank prison.
Mm-hmm.
He's so... You can see that he's innocent, but he's sentenced to life. There's no escape for him, right?
Yeah.
He's stuck in the prison, and he's rather phlegmatic in the prison and befriending nobody at that time. And he's
Mhm.
even raped by some radical guys in the prison.
Uh-huh.
So you can say, as a banker who earns a lot of money, his life turns from very, very good from very, very bad.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
environment changed so much for him.
Yeah, but how does he develop another life in the prison is interesting, because there he later on befriended a guy called Rat, which is a very good guy. And because he's so intelligent as a banker,
Mhm.
the prison warden even asked him to do some money laundering things.
Mm.
And then he just secretly deposited all the money the warden asked him to deposit to his private account outside the jail. And then one day, he disappeared. Everybody was looking for him in the jail, but
That's because he escaped, right?
yeah, he used a small hammer to build a tunnel
Yeah.
penetrating the wall, and
Yeah.
then just escaped.
Yes. So basically, I think it displays a sort of mental quality to gain hope.
Yeah.
And then tries to find a solution.
And to resist the miserable life.
Even when
in this-
you're in the most most miserable
Miserable
moment of your life. So I think it really changed you so much, right? In terms of
Yeah.
how your attitude towards life.
Mhm.
So is there a particular moment in your life when you feel like that this is the miserable time for me, but I'm trying to make a difference?
I actually haven't encountered any incident that make me think that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some minor struggles that I've been through, and I think this movie just reminds me that I have to be positive. Even
Mhm.
though I might be struggling in the real life, I always have hope. I know there is no dead end in everything.
Yeah.
There's just a way out. And I think that's my faith, and it makes me today.
And what I'm also curious about is that you watched this movie when you were in high school.
Yeah.
Was high school a time that is hard for you, a difficult time for you, compared to other stages of your life?
Of course, because
It's hard.
I was in my puberty, and
Everyone's puberty is miserable.
I changed a lot in high school.
Uh-huh.
Like 3 years in high school, every year I'm a totally different person.
How did you change? Like from a very
Naive person
naive person
to a
very happy person?
yeah,
to
I
more
was
of a
happy
complicated?
to more complicated and gloomy.
How
Yeah.
complicated are you?
Just overthinker, an
Overthinker, and you always have a lot of emotions in your mind, right?
Yeah, and I think like I'm the star of the world. Everything and everyone revolves around me, and I
Mhm.
would just overestimate myself on everything.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something that happened to so many people when they were in puberty and even in high school. And I'm glad that you have this movie with you and giving you the courage to overcome things in your life.
Yeah,
the
and
difficult
one
things, the
thing to
obstacles.
add to this movie is the friendship between the leading role Andy, the banker, and his friend Red. Because when Andy escaped, he has so many money, right? And when Red finally is released from the prison as well, Andy asked Red to go to a beach, and then they just, reunite. And that thing is so moving. As
the bond between people.
Yeah.
It is ultimately the friendship and this contact with people that is so touching.
Yeah, and then finally meet each other again.
Yeah.
I was moved to tears.
Definitely.
So I choose this song for you.
Meeting each other again.
Yeah, it's called See You Again. No, it's not See You Again.
Meet you again.
Meet You Again. 再遇见 by 苏打绿 Soda Green.
Okay, let's give a listen and we'll be right back on Cinematic Motif.
我们会再遇见，故事已经翻了几页。忽然之间，你忽略了我，忽略的所有细节，当初的猜疑、好奇、爱恨、赤诚，却已走远。忽然之间，你发现了我，发现了所有改变，当初的微笑、眼泪、喜怒哀乐，都已抛在昨天。爱疼痛的感觉，像伤口总得需要时间复原。掌管命运的神，多想问你是不是打了个盹？难道这叫缘分？我没想过在遇见的时刻，成雪，忽然之间，你忽略了我，忽略了所有细节，当初的猜疑、好奇、爱恨、赤诚，却已细微。忽然之间，你发现了我，发现的所有改变，当初的微笑、眼泪、喜怒哀乐都已云烟，而你在离开我之后，却没就一直往前，转眼之间，你的世界一步一步越离越远。转身之前看到你，却还依稀觉得有点可怜。忽然之间，你散尽了我，散尽的全都不见。当初的我的疯狂，你的背叛，像个笑脸。忽然之间，你经历了我经历。当初的我的退让，你的亏欠都不起眼，而你在离开我之后还停在原点，而我在离开你之后不断往前飞。转眼之间，我的世界一步一步越走越远，一念之间想对你伤害我的一切说声谢谢。
That is 再遇见 Meeting Again by 苏打绿 Soda Green on Cinematic Motif. Today on the show we have Alan.
Hi.
Alan is talking about
Movies Made Me.
Yeah,
it's
it's
my
our
show
feature
today.
Movies made Alan. So we talked about two
Boat
movies, Boat and
The Shawshank Redemption.
let's move on to the third movie that
Okay.
the third movie that you picked that changes you so much.
It took me a lot of time to come up with the movie
Mhm.
because I browsed through all the movies I've watched.
Do you have a
and-
list? I do have a list, but just to let you know, I have a list of all the movies that I've watched.
I have a list on Google. And then
Okay.
I picked. Before this movie, I actually selected 3 others and then just gave up on them.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I located on this one. It's called Still Life.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the movie?
Okay, so Still Life is a 2013 film written and directed by Uberto Pasolini.
I believe it's Uberto Pasolini.
Okay, and starring Eddie Marsan as the main character, John May, who is a lonely man whose work is to help handle the funeral stuff for the dead who passes away alone with no family members.
Mm-hmm.
And John May, he is a very stern person and takes his life seriously, but he doesn't have any family members or friends either.
Okay.
And he works so hard to look for the descendants of the dead, and if he couldn't find any, or the descendants refused to overtake the funeral staff of the dead, he would just generously hold a funeral for the dead on his own. Yeah. And a big portion of the movie is about his helping his last case, Stoke. He manages to contact a lot of Stoke's friends and even his daughter.
Mm.
But tragically, right before the Stoke's funeral,
Mm.
John May dies in a car accident.
Okay.
Yeah, and interestingly, John May's grave is right across from Stoke's grave.
Mm-hmm.
So on the day of Stowe's funeral, everybody John May has contacted show up,
yeah.
but there's no one at John May's grave.
Mm.
But in the end of the
people are
movie,
at the Stokes Bay.
Yeah. But in the end of the movie, when Stowe's funeral has ended, every dead people that
Yeah.
John May has helped appeared to
Uh-huh.
gather around John May's grave,
yeah.
and this is so moving.
Yeah, I
so
know. I kind of
meaningful,
know
right?
the whole plot of the movie because we watched
A
the
makeup movie,
remake,
yeah.
the remake of the movie, Japanese remake of the movie. That's I Am
Am
Maki
Makimoto.
Miyamoto of last year.
Mhm.
So my first question is not related to how this movie changed you, but do you like the original version more or the remake version?
I would say
Like them both.
I like them both, but I prefer the original version.
Okay.
Because I mean the remake movie is fine because it has a lot of, I mean, it adds a pinch of humor, Japanese humor in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
remake
yeah, yeah.
movie. But if you watch the original movie, you will feel so
Depressed.
depressed, so subdued, so depressed.
Yeah.
That matches the story of the movie more. would
Okay.
say.
So you like the atmosphere
Yeah.
of the original one more.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think in this movie there's a lot of discussion about what is meaningful. Like what John May is doing. Is it meaningful or not? He's doing a lot for the people who has already died, the people who does not have a lot of money, and does it prompt you to think about what is really something that we have to do, the meaningful things that we have to do before we die?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I am not the people person, you know.
Yeah.
And after watching this movie, I was just thinking, what if one day I died alone as well, and nobody's
Yeah.
gonna handle my funeral stuffs?
But this movie gives you a little hope. Like if you helped a lot of people like before you died, then these people are actually, perhaps they're going to show up. The ghosts are going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There'll always be people that remember you.
Yes, and this is a point that I realize a lot of people might remember me,
Yeah.
but what if they actually show up but I don't know them?
Mhm.
Because I used to be even though I'm not a people person,
Like,
I
they
used-
remember you, but you don't remember them.
Yeah, because I used to be outgoing. I was in high school. I was the president of an orchestra, and I attended so many contests or something like that. I
Yeah.
would show up in front of crowds, but
Mm.
they know me. I'm on stage, but I don't know them because in my private life, I don't have a lot of friends.
Yes.
So I think this is very
In your
unfair.
private life, you don't have a lot of friends. This is gonna be a quote for the rest of your life.
No, at that time, I just thought this is very unfair
Yeah.
for me and for the others. So it changed me to I just keep myself in my private life and I build this strong bond with all the people that I actually love, I actually know, my closest friends, and
Yes.
that's it.
So now, as you are not approaching, you're approaching to the end of your life. Technically, you're approaching to the end of your life.
Everybody is.
Yeah, when you were born. Do you think there's something that you still need to do?
a lot of things.
Okay. So you think that the time is not enough for you? Or you're not
I
starting?
mean, I'm not gonna die just in some days, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If I can control when I'm gonna die,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the remaining time is enough for me to accomplish everything I still want to do.
Yeah.
But if I just pass away in an accident, I wouldn't feel regretted.
Yes. You
Mhm.
wouldn't feel regretted because you have already done what you can do at this moment, at this stage.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very, very interesting. And I think that's also very inspiring. I'm
Mhm.
glad that the movie Still Life really inspired you to do this sort of planning and thinking before you die.
Have you written your last will? Just
I
try
haven't.
it.
I haven't. I'll
Try
try
it.
it. I'll maybe try to write a letter for me, like a little 遗书.
Yeah.
Like,
Or invite everyone you want them to be at your funeral. Invite them
Yeah,
beforehand.
I want
Before you.
I'm gonna tell people you have to come to my funeral.
Yeah. It's a deal.
All right. So this is actually Alan's last time on Cinematic Motif. Do you have any final words for people?
Watch movies.
Yes, watch movies, and it's gonna help you to think a lot more about life.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And you can just watch others' life and movies sort of vicariously. It's as if you've lived that kind of lives as well.
Yes, and it's gonna help you to stand from different perspectives to think
Mhm.
about things.
And maybe you'll find some movies that support you for the rest of your life, just like me.
Yeah, and maybe you'll find movies that change you as a person,
Mhm.
transform you into a different person. Alright, so that is all for our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cinematic Motif Movies Made Me. As always, if you've got anything that you want to tell me, send your email to wanson@lti.org.tw. You can also follow me on my Instagram and YouTube. My handle is @wansonsefe. The final song for you today is chosen by Alan. So Alan, could you please tell us a little bit about what song that you have chosen?
I have chosen First Time by Ed Sheeran, and the reason why, it's also a takeaway from my last movie, Still Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm watching that movie and I started to just recall all of my memories, and I found out that every first time I remember
Mhm.
them so well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the first time that
it's the most memorable
Yeah.
for me.
it's always engraved in your heart,
Mhm.
engraved in your mind. Okay, so you should always cherish your every first time of everything.
Yeah, and if possible, take everything you do as your first time doing.
Yeah, and it's gonna be refreshing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give it a listen. Ed Sheeran and First Times. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm back next week, Alan.
I will not be bad next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Pass us by, oh, but I remember the first kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry, the first drink, red wine on a step in Brooklyn. I still feel the first fight. We both made it out alive, and I can't wait to make a million more first times. The greatest thing that I have achieved is 4 little words down on one knee. I said, darling, are you joking? And I just said, please. Ain't it funny how the simplest things in life can make a man? Little moments that pass us by. Oh, but I remember the first kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry, the first look in your eyes. When I said I love you, I can still feel the butterflies from when we stumbled home that night. I can't wait to make a million more first times. Ain't it funny how the simplest things in life can make a man? Little moments that pass us by. Oh, but I remember First kiss, first night, first song that made you cry, first dance, moonlight in your parents' garden night. Come